welcome back to Girl Ascending. Happy full moon. We have the full moon in Taurus and we also have a lunar eclipse. When we're thinking about this lunar eclipse on a full moon, we really want to be thinking about how much that is going to intensify the energy of that full moon that we are going through at the moment. And we also want to think about how with a lunar eclipse, that's kind of the universe allowing us to have a full stop on a given situation. So we really want to be thinking during this this tarot reading about the parts of our lives that we feel need to come to an end. Perhaps we already kind of feel they're coming to a natural end, but where we really want to be harnessing that lunar eclipse energy, where we want to say, okay, full stop on this, I'm ready for a fresh start and to leave this particular situation behind. And then also obviously we have the full moon in Taurus in Scorpio season. So when we're thinking about new moons, this will always occur in the season, the sign that we are in. So we obviously just had the Scorpio new moon in Scorpio season, and now coming to the full moon, this will always be the sign that is opposing the season sign on the zodiac. So the signs that are opposite each other basically. So on a full moon, we also want to be prepared for that kind of conflict in a way, where the two elements of the signs kind of battle together a bit. So with Scorpio, we always have a very deep sense of transformation, but it can also be a bit more of a guarded energy, a bit more secretive. Whereas with Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, we have this idea of luxuriating, of kind of leaning into those sides of our lives where we feel more cared for, looking at things like money and luxuries and how that really helps us to feel better about ourselves. And we kind of want to balance those two energies with the idea of the lunar eclipse coming in as well. So it's a lot to kind of take on board, but that's what we're really thinking about as we go into these tarot readings. You know, how am I transforming, but also where am I kind of having that self-care coming in as well, and which parts of my lives do I really want to put that full stop on. Okay, so let's crack on and get started with our readings. Okay, so we're going to be using the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. This is still one of my absolute favourites. I think that it just resonates so well with reading in general for yourself, but also for other people as well. So let's shuffle our cards and we can see what is coming up for Aries for this full moon in Taurus. So we're thinking transformation, we're thinking self-care, and we are thinking where we want to put a full stop on things in our lives at the moment. Okay, so let us pick our 3 cards. So we've got the Fool, the Ten of Cups, and then the King of Pentacles. Okay, so we're already seeing quite a bit of Taurus energy coming through at the end here. But when we're looking at these cards, what we really want to be thinking about, Aries, is that there is going to be some kind of fresh start or new beginning for you, which is totally appropriate when we are in a lunar eclipse. And we really want to be brave with this. And for Aries, you know, Aries, that warrior sign ruled by Mars. So you're not afraid of conflict, of going ahead, of having a fresh start. So we really want to go full steam ahead, jump off that cliff, and know that no matter what is waiting on the other side, that we're going to be fully supported, because we also have the Ten of Cups coming in. Now this is the kind of over the rainbow card where we're getting our kind of happy ending, if you will, and that can look like different things to different people, but what the cards are really saying is that in order to get there, to find that happy ending, we really need to push ourselves out of our comfort zone, and that can be quite difficult, especially when we're feeling that sense of Taurus energy where we kind of want to maybe be a bit more fixed, a bit earthier, a bit cozier. We kind of maybe, obviously the weather is getting colder now, we want to stay at home more, but this is really saying that, you know, you need to push yourself out of your comfort zone if you're going to achieve that. And when we've also got the King of Pentacles coming in as well, this would suggest to me that there is someone around you at the moment that you really admire, giving that kind of divine masculine energy. So it doesn't have to be someone who identifies as a man, but they're giving off that real divine masculine energy when it comes to business and finance. And this is someone that you should really look to connect with the energy of the full moon, because this person is going to enable you to not only progress with your fresh start, but also to kind of give you those pointers as to how this new beginning, this fresh start, can really be transformative in order for you to get what you want out of it at the end of it. And looking for mentorship is something that we should always kind of be aware of anyway. Obviously with the lunar eclipse, we're looking at kind of full stops on certain situations and saying, you know, we're ready to transform our behaviour. And sometimes looking towards other people that we admire can be so helpful, because when we're not sure, sort of with a new beginning, how we want to do something, to see someone who is already doing it can feel kind of magical, really. You know, they've done it. How did they do it? Let me kind of go with that, and then I can hopefully find my own path by copying other people's. You know, the wheel is not broken, sorry. It doesn't need fixing. So often, you know, if someone else has found a path that works, that may well work for you as well. So that's a good option to explore. But all these cards are so positive, so lovely, coming up for you, Aries, for the full moon in Taurus. Hello to Taurus, so happy full moon to you. Obviously the energy for you is going to be super, super intense because we have your full moon and also the lunar eclipse, so you're going to be feeling this energy in a heavy way. But Taurians, you know, you're not any stranger to that. Obviously with the symbol of the bull, you're keen to get your head down, strive on ahead, so this energy hopefully will not be too disruptive for you, even if it does feel a bit heavy. So let's see what 3 cards we have coming up for you. Okay, so we have got the 2 of Swords, we have got the 4 of Swords in the reverse, and then we've also got the 7 of Swords. Okay, so what this suggests to me is that when we're going through this time of kind of transformation where we want to be moving from where we are into the next stage, that maybe there is a sense that you're not quite sure what to do next outwardly, but internally you do know. So whatever situation you're going through at the moment, it could be relationship, it could be work, anything that you're feeling that kind of push-pull, a hesitation, you know, maybe you want to end a relationship, or maybe a relationship has ended and you're not quite sure sort of how to take those next steps, or maybe you're having a bit of hesitancy in your career, or you're kind of looking to revamp things, freshen things up, and you're not quite sure how to do that. I would urge you to kind of take a step back, to listen, to go deeper and just think, okay, do I really not know? Or am I just kind of telling myself that story because it's easier than actually making the decision? Because a lunar eclipse is a perfect time to make those difficult decisions, because we're really being supported by the energy of the universe. And when we have the 4 of Swords in the reverse, it's that idea that although we're kind of maybe going through a time of indecision, that actually once we've made the decision, that there will be a sense of relief and such a sense of peace. And I think a lot of us kind of edge towards that scenario because making the decision can be so hard, but then once we've made it, we think, oh gosh, you know, why did it take me so long to make this choice in the first place? But it's very natural to feel a degree of hesitancy, especially if it's around an important area, an important person in our life. But we also have the 7 of Swords coming up at the end of this 3-card read, and this is always kind of the sneaky card. You can see the way the figure on the card is kind of stealing the swords and looking away behind them. So I would urge you that no matter what decision it is that you have to make, you need to make it for yourself. There will always be naysayers or people hanging in the background that have something to say about it, but that will happen no matter what you do. So you may as well do what feels right for you, what aligns for you, instead of trying to people please. And that may be the cause of the indecision in the first place. I think a lot of us, but Taurians especially, who are very, in general, very family orientated, that they kind of feel that sense of responsibility, especially as a fixed sign, that it can sometimes be difficult to make a decision for yourself because you always feel that weight of expectation from other people. But I would definitely say, once you've made that decision that is right for you, there will be a big release of stress, and to not worry about what other people think about it, because at the end of the day, the only person that has to wake up and live your life is you, and you have to live it for yourself. And we all need to find that balance between being selfish and taking care of ourselves. And it is not selfish to make the choices that align with your values that are right for you. So these are our cards for Taurus on the Taurus full moon. Hello to Gemini. It is now time to do your 3-card reading. A card already jumping out, we'll put that down. Our cards seem to have already jumped out, how interesting. Okay, so let's go with these then. Okay, interesting. So we've got the Knight of Pentacles, we've also got the Death card, and then we've got the Moon. Okay, so for Gemini, I think we can kind of see that we've got this double sense of transformative energy. So the Knight of Pentacles and also the Death card mirror each other in terms of the physicality of the design of the card. So we're feeling the energy of the Death card, but we're feeling that kind of it's almost like doubled energy. And when we have the Death card, obviously this is nothing to be alarmed about. It is a card of transformation, and we are in such a transformative time. We have obviously Scorpio season ruled by Pluto, the planet of transformation, obviously a lunar eclipse, where we're getting those moments to really sit back, that period of darkness, to think, okay, where am I going, what do I want now? And then obviously we have the moon coming in as one of your cards as well, which is a time of revelations really, where we are kind of seeing things for how they really are, not just as we would like them to be, which can be a bit tricky. So if we look at these cards a little bit closer with the Knight of Pentacles, this is a time where you really need to be focusing on your own financial journey. So this could relate back to your personal finances at the moment. Are things maybe a bit out of control? Do you need to look at your budgeting a bit more? Gemini in general is a super social sign, so you know, have you been going out? Have you been kind of talking the big talk and kind of spending more than you have to maybe impress people, or just because you like going out? Fair enough, but maybe this is a time to kind of look back at your budget and see, okay, am I really able to afford the lifestyle that I'm currently sort of in at the moment? It could also mean, am I making the best use of my talents to be making money at the moment, or do I need to kind of switch things up in order to find a better career path? It doesn't mean that you need to do a radical change of career, but it can just be, okay, having that little think about, do I want to maybe start an extra little side hustle? Do I want to maybe do some extra training, kind of expand my career horizons a little bit? And the Death card is coming in to say that this transformation is necessary, you know, that we all need to go through periods of transformation and to kind of not have that fear of it, because as the Death card depicts, you know, death and transformation comes to all of us, and it's something that we all need to take on board in order to move forward and progress in our lives. And when we have the moon card coming in as well, this is kind of letting us know that when we go through these transformations, that even if they are difficult, that the light, you know, that's waiting for us at the other side, we can see on the card that the leaves from the tree of life are coming down from the moon, and we can see these two grey pillars leading us to our destination on the other side. And even though we may have kind of obstacles in the foreground, that once we push past that discomfort, what is waiting for us on the other side is what we've been kind of looking for and what is necessary for us. So these two cards really have that strong Scorpio energy, and then when we're coming through with the moon as well, we're kind of feeling that energy that Taurus calls to us, where we want to luxuriate a bit more, and where we want to, you know, the hard stuff is necessary, but we also want to take that time to sit back and relax and enjoy the fruits of our labours as well, and not be held back really by our past, because the moon card can also indicate that there may be some kind of secrets or whispers from the past where you feel a little bit stuck, maybe a past situation or even your own past kind of toxic traits that are holding you back. So the moon card is letting you know, especially at the time of a lunar eclipse, that we don't want to be stuck in that energy of being trapped in the past. We really want to move forward, and we can see with the Knight of Pentacles and the Death card that they are very direction-led cards. You know, you can see physically the horse is moving forward, and that's what we really need, Gemini, for you to do during this full moon, to really think about where you're going next and allowing that period of transformation to happen, and obviously keeping an eye on finances as well. So these are your cards, Gemini, for the full moon in Taurus. Hello to Cancer. It is now time to see what the cards have in store for you for the full moon in Taurus. So let's see what 3 cards want to come up for us this evening. Okay, so we have got we've got the 9 of Pentacles in the reverse, we have got the 5 of Swords, and then we've also got the Chariot. Okay, so what this suggests to me is that for you, Cancer, over the full moon, you really want to be kind of thinking about where you are going next in terms of your personal situation. So you may feel on the surface that you're quite happy, that you're in, you know, a steady position, that there's not too much disruption going on in your life, but you also want to be aware of what points are you kind of cutting yourself off from other people. So this could be maybe a relationship situation or a career situation where you've kind of had a bit of conflict or a bit of difficulty, and you're now almost feeling a sense of paralysis. You know, you're not quite sure where to move forward next, that you want to transform, you want to do something different, but you're not quite sure how to kind of manifest that, how to get yourself into the right alignment so you can call that into your life. And with the 5 of Swords as well, this is definitely suggesting to me, I don't really see it as a current situation, more as sort of a past situation, but there was some kind of dishonesty or deception in the past, and that has really informed on your ability to connect with the future. But I'm definitely seeing with the card of the Chariot that you're wanting to move forward. This Could also suggest to me that perhaps there might be a physical move coming up. Maybe you're moving house, or maybe you're going away on a trip that you've really worked hard for. But when we're looking at these cards, we're really thinking about how are we moving forward without kind of cutting ourselves off from other people, because Cancer obviously are a very deeply emotional sign. We're in Scorpio season, so we're feeling that heightened sense of sort of watery emotion, but we're also feeling that idea that Cancer can have that same sense of Scorpio, you know, that they've got that hard shell. They don't find it easy to let people in, but once they do, you can kind of feel very supported by their emotional intensity. But Cancer energy can sometimes be a little bit sort of a wounded energy if we're not careful. So when a Cancer is wounded by someone in a certain way, they can then kind of tip over into maybe wanting to take revenge on that person, or kind of going into a darker space, and that's what we really want to avoid with Cancer energy. So this full moon, we really want to be thinking about, you know, why am I cutting myself off from people? And if I'm cutting myself off, am I actually cutting myself off from them, or am I cutting myself off from other opportunities, from growing and progressing? And if I want to move forward, how am I kind of assimilating those periods that have been challenging or difficult for me? How am I actively sort of using them as part of my my human experience, you know, in order to then move forward and progress? So I feel that over this full moon there may be some kind of journey or trip coming up, a house move, something of that may be in the background for you, but that you won't be able to kind of move forward with anything successfully until you kind of deal with those inner wounds. And this is a great time to do it because it's such an intense period of transformation. So these are your cards for the full moon in Taurus for Cancer. Hello to Leo. It is now time to find out what cards we have coming up for you for the full moon. My foot has just gone to sleep, so there we go. Get the blood going again. Right, let's see what 3 cards we have coming up for you. Interesting. Okay, so we have the 3 of Cups in the reverse, we have the High Priestess, and we also have the Knight of Cups. Okay, so what this suggests to me for you, Leo, is that at the moment you may be feeling like you want to kind of pull away a bit from the more social side of your life, that things have maybe been fun, we've been going out a lot. Obviously we're coming into the colder months now, so it's natural to kind of want to lean into a period of hibernation. But as obviously we have the full moon in Taurus in Scorpio season with the lunar eclipse, that is very much a kind of a heavier energy. I don't want to say negative, it's a heavier energy, and that can make us want to kind of retreat into ourselves a bit more. And Leos are often kind of used to being not necessarily just the life and soul of the party, but they're used to being visible. So as a Leo, you may often feel the pressure that you are the glue holding a social group together or a family together. You may be the person that always gets the call from that one friend that's never getting their life together. You're always the one kind of at the other end of the phone. And what the cards are suggesting to me for you for the full moon is that you kind of need to take a step back from that. And it doesn't mean that you're cutting people off. It's more a sense of just, you know, taking that time away to kind of say, oh, I'm really sorry, you know, I'm not free today, but I would love to catch up soon. That kind of time, making time for yourself, basically. And also with the High Priestess coming through, it's that idea that for you, Leo, that you really need to kind of lean into that more spiritual side of yourself. Because this is really where your power is, that you need to kind of take back your own power, that there are a lot of kind of things in flux for you at the moment, both relationship wise and career wise, and you really kind of need to withdraw for a little bit in order to then find that space for yourself of where you want to go next. And I think again this is kind of highlighting that aspect that I was saying before, that Leos are often really the glue in a friendship group or in a family. They're seen sort of as the life and soul, so a lot of people kind of are drawn towards that that solar energy. They want to ask your advice, but it's also important that you kind of keep something back for yourself. You know, you can't just be available to other people, because if you are just available to other people all the time and not to yourself, then it will get to a point where you're not able to be available for other people either, because you just won't have that capacity left at all. And when we have the King of Cups, this is really saying to me that you want to be thinking about where you're going on your emotional journey next. You know, are you kind of still doing things because you feel a pressure to live up to someone else's expectations of you, or are you doing it because it is something that is your true calling and it's something that you really want to do? And with Leo energy, we do often feel, you know, Leo children, that perhaps you were, you always had to be the one that was okay, you always had to be the one that was kind of chivying everyone else along, and as an adult it can be hard to then think, well, you know, what do I want for me, where do I want to go next? So during this lunar eclipse and this full moon, I would really encourage you, Leo, to kind of connect emotionally and be truly honest with yourself. You know, this is your life, we get to live one life, what do you want, you know, and don't be afraid of the emotions that question may raise for you. So these are our cards for the full moon in Taurus for Leo. Hello to Virgo, it is now time to do your cards for the full moon in Taurus. So let's see what 3 cards we have coming up for you. This often happens where the cards just want to jump out, just already want to be involved. Okay, so we have the 2 of Swords, we have the Hermit, and then we also have the 9 of Wands. Okay, so I'm getting from this, Taurus, that you are in a situation at the moment where I feel like you have already made a decision, and it's a key decision that you have wanted to make for a long time, and you finally thought, enough is enough, I'm going to make this choice now. And Virgo is not an indecisive sign, however they are a perfectionist sign, so when Virgos make a decision, they mean it. You know, there's no mucking around. Once Virgo has made their choice, you know, once you've decided what it is you're going to do, then you intend to follow through. And we also have the Hermit energy coming through, which is ideal on a lunar eclipse, because obviously this is a time where there's going to be that, the moon passing in front of the sun, we're getting that sense of darkness, but it's almost like a luxurious sensation where we're returning back to the womb almost, you know, where it's a feeling of safety, and where we can get that sense of peace and clarity. Because when it comes time to make these big difficult decisions, it's not necessarily something that happens in isolation. So even if it's ending a relationship or changing jobs or moving cities, it may feel like we are obviously having that main character energy where it's happening to us, but there are always going to be people on the periphery of that that may or may not agree with your decision. So the person you're breaking up with, the family you're moving away from, the job that is losing you as an employee, whatever that may be. So then going into a hermit period is actually quite normal and quite natural after making a big decision, because you need to have that time away to kind of process and think. And in our sort of modern society, I think it can be quite tricky sometimes to take that time away, because we're very, very pressured to be on all the time. You know, you have to be accessible to everyone all the time, phones, email, text, whatever. But I think for you, Virgo, taking some time away to really just kind of be on your own for a little bit and really think about, you know, the outcome of the choice that you have made, and then kind of seeing where that takes you next. And we also have the 9 of Wands kind of finishing off this little 3-card spread as well. And with the 9 of Wands, we kind of have that energy where we feel exhausted, you know, that we've been really trying hard, doing our best for quite a long time, and it kind of carries that energy of, you know, is what I want, is it ever going to happen for me? And although I can't answer that definitively either way, what the cards are really saying by showing up this way on a lunar eclipse and on a full moon is that there is a completion of a cycle. So whatever you're going through at the moment, however hard or difficult it may seem, you need to keep going, because you will never know what that outcome is unless you keep trying. And I think it's so interesting when we look visually at the card of the 9 of Wands that, you know, the space that's left, it's almost completed, you're almost there. So, you know, really don't give up. You've gone through the hardest part, you've made your key decision. So just take some time away, think about what you want to happen next, and don't give up. You know, feel into this completion of a cycle energy. Don't allow it to kind of throw you off course. Don't give up at the last minute. So these are your cards, Virgo, for the full moon in Taurus. Virg is asleep again. Hello to Libra, it is now time to do your cards for the full moon in Taurus. Let us see what is coming up. Da, da, da. I've had some cards jumping out today, so I'm seeing, whoop, yep, it wants to happen again. Okay, so we have got, oh no, it's too many cards. Let's reshuffle. Okay, so let's see what we have coming up for you. Here we go, here are 3. So we have got the King of Swords, we have got the 6 of Pentacles, and then we've got the 9 of Swords in the reverse. So for you, Libra, what I'm seeing for this full moon and lunar eclipse is that there has been some kind of conflict with someone in your life it doesn't necessarily have to be male, but they're definitely giving off that kind of divine male energy where there has been some kind of disconnect in communication. So even though we have the King of Swords in the upright position, I'm really feeling very strongly that there is some kind of conflict energy coming through, and I'm not sure exactly what it is. My instinct is that it's kind of someone who has a paternal role, but it could even be just kind of that head of the household role. So it could even be someone that you were in a relationship with, and that there is some kind of vocal conflict that is going on at the moment, something that someone else is doing that you disagree with, and you're trying to vocalize that to them, you know, that this is causing a problem or an issue either currently, or that you can see it becoming a bigger problem further down the line, and you're really trying to say to this person, you know, listen to me, because you know, I know that what I'm saying is something that I desperately need to communicate to you, and this person is kind of not necessarily communicating back with you in the right way. And when we have the Six of Pentacles coming in, this is a card of kind of charity and of helping, but it's also about asking for help as well. And I kind of feel like these two cards are kind of very, very connected for you, that there's this sense that whatever you're trying to communicate with this person with, it may be about money, finances, or the household, or it may even be that you're going to this person and you're asking someone for help, and they are either kind of ignoring you, or they're not kind of giving you that emotional availability that you are looking for, and it's having a direct effect on either your personal finances, your household finances, or even that ability to sort of ask for help. You're feeling a sense of kind of feeling stuck, really. And although with the Nine of Swords coming up in the reverse, I do feel that this will come to a head, you know, and it will dissipate the anxiety that this situation is giving. It will release, and this is a great time to do it, obviously on a full moon. I do still feel that there's going to be this kind of overhang of energy of conflict around a male figure or someone with divine male energy. So it could be someone who identifies as female, but they've got a very strong masculine energy around them, about something to do with your personal finances. So finances that you have tied in with this person. So it could be a business partner, a romantic partner, or someone in your family, and that it's really giving you a lot of stress. And I do see on this full moon a release of that particular stress, but the way that I'm seeing it is that you are going to have to decide to let it go. And for Libras, that can be kind of a mixed thing to do, because Libras often like to keep things in balance, they like to keep the peace, but sometimes being the peacemaker actually can be detrimental to yourself. So when we choose consciously to let something go, we have to think about how that is then going to impact us going further. You know, if we let it go, we have to let it go for real. We can't just kind of turn a blind eye to it and hope it goes away. We have to accept that whatever this person is kind of doing, their decisions are out of our control. And, you know, even though we can give them our opinion, if they don't take it, there's nothing that we can do about that. So we kind of have to find a way to assimilate that within ourselves and let it go. So I really see that you, of all the signs that have come up so far in this reading for the full moon, are going to have to make a conscious decision to release stress from a relationship, from this person in your life, and kind of learn how to sort of not help yourself. I mean, we always need to ask for help, you know, when we need it, but to really find that way of how are you helping yourself? You know, are you letting other people make too many decisions for you? Have you kind of sleepwalked into a situation where someone else is kind of holding your purse strings? So we really want to be kind of aware of that on this full moon and lunar eclipse. But these are your cards, Libra, for the full moon in Taurus. Hello to Scorpio, we are in your season still, and this is of course your reading for the full moon in Taurus. Cards leaping out already. Okay, so we have got the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse, we have got the Five of Cups, and then we've also got the Two of Pentacles in the reverse. Okay, so Scorpio, for me, this is kind of giving me a little bit of a mixed bag, really, and this may be an energy that you're kind of feeling deeply in yourself at the moment. So obviously we've had the partial lunar eclipse in Scorpio season. We're now going into the full moon in Taurus with a lunar eclipse. So this has been kind of a bombardment of energy for everyone, but especially for Scorpios. And I feel for Scorpio, obviously you are one of the more secretive signs. You find it difficult to open up to people because you're always kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. And when you're committed to something, you kind of go all in. So it's that kind of light and shade balance that we're always trying to find with Scorpio energy. But when I'm looking at these cards, I'm kind of getting the sense that for you, Scorpio, you're not sure what you kind of want to happen next. This could be to do with any aspect in your life really, but I'm almost getting the sense that it's like an overall energy sense where you're thinking like you're just not quite sure where to progress in every aspect. So relationships, work, I'm kind of getting the sense that family is still kind of on an equilibrium, but definitely within relationships and work, because we have the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse, and this is a card about kind of patience and waiting for things to grow and planting a seed and kind of waiting for it to flourish. And I feel the sense that I'm getting for you, Scorpio, is that you feel that you have done that, you've put in the hard work, you've you know, put in the effort with the person that you want to date or the person you are dating, you have put in that effort with work, and you're still kind of not seeing that fruition. And that can be one of the most frustrating things, because it's that sort of sense of, okay, well, you know, I've done my part, what's happening, where is everyone else, when is everyone else going to step in and kind of give me those rewards, as it were. And then obviously we have the Five of Cups coming up as well, which is a card sort of about sadness and loss and regret. But as we see visually on the cards, although the Three Cups here have been knocked over, we also have these Two Cups still full, still standing next to the figure if you would only look and see them, and we have the bridge going over to the castle on the other side, so there is still positives. So what we're really seeing with these first two cards certainly is a sense of frustration that you have put in hard work, you're not quite seeing it, and you're feeling, quite honestly, a bit pissed off about it. You would like to know when you are going to be getting yours, okay? And that is an energy that I think can come up a lot of Scorpio season anyway, because it's a shadow work season. We've got Samhain coming up, you know, where we're really kind of forced to examine ourselves, look in the mirror and be like, okay, who am I really? What am I telling myself? And who do I want to show up as? And then when we have the Two of Pentacles coming up in the reverse, it's that sense that you're not quite sure what to do next. And I think in our society, we're kind of pressurized to always make choices, you know, now, what's your choice? What are you doing? And I think this is a really nice time, especially with the full moon in Taurus energy, you know, supported by Scorpio season, and also with the lunar eclipse, to just do nothing. And that can feel very uncomfortable, because we feel like by doing nothing we're sort of letting ourselves down, or we're not progressing. But I think when you're really in these periods of intense indecision, the best thing you can do is just take a step back and not make a choice, because that then allows everything to settle down mentally, and for you to kind of think about, right, you know, am I doing things because of outside pressures, societal pressures, family pressures? Am I trying to strive for a life that I think I want, but actually maybe I don't? And to just allow yourself to be an individual, because to me, Scorpios always have that amazing sort of rebel individual energy where they're so themselves, and you don't ever want to lose that. So I would definitely say for you, Scorpio, to just take a breath over this lunar eclipse, to not do anything, and to just allow yourselves to kind of feel more the Taurus energy than the Scorpio energy, and just relax, release, and just let this period of kind of impatience pass, because better things are on the way. So these are your so these are your cards, Scorpio, for the full moon in Taurus. Hello to Sagittarius. It is now time to do your 3-card reading for the full moon in Taurus. Let us see what is coming up for you. I've had cards leaping out all over the place already, so let's see. I don't know if it's going to happen for Sagittarius. No, I don't think so. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so we've got the Page of Wands, we have got the Seven of Swords, and then we've also got the Ace of Wands as well. Okay, so Sagittarians by nature are very positive, glass half full, looking on the bright side of life, and this kind of spread is leaning into that energy quite closely, I would say, because what I'm seeing with the Page of Wands is that you have got something coming up that you're really excited about. It could be a new job, or you know, a new job opportunity. It could be a new relationship, or the feeling that something in your relationship is new. Maybe your partner has done a surprise for you, or is kind of putting in the effort a bit more, and things are really feeling like that new fresh start is happening, and you're feeling very positive and very excited about it. But what I would warn you to do, Sagittarius, is to maybe, obviously we have Scorpio season and the lunar eclipse, that you want to kind of be delving back into that shadow work again that we've talked about previously, because sometimes when we have these really intense periods of positivity, it can kind of unbalance us in a way, and it can mean that we ignore red flags. And I think that the Seven of Swords is definitely a red flag card. This is the epitome of what I would say it looks like. So whatever amazing thing is happening in your life at the moment, celebrate it and lean into that, but also be aware of the red flags. You know, just because something can look great in the moment or great on the surface, we kind of don't want to necessarily think that it's going to be perfect, because that can be a little bit dangerous and can kind of set ourselves up for a fall. So we really want to be seeing the reality of a situation rather than kind of how we hope the situation would be, you know, because nothing is perfect, and that is beautiful, you know, imperfectly perfect. So we want to be aware of the true reality of the situation that we have going on at the moment, and not to ignore red flags. And we obviously have the Ace of Wands coming in to finish off this spread. So obviously it's Scorpio season, and with the lunar eclipse there is a lot of kind of sexy sexual energy coming in. I always think of Sagittarians anyway as being a very sexy sign. You know, they're barefooted globetrotters. They're not afraid to kind of pick up and start again. They radiate positivity. They're not afraid to kind of take that leap to go on a fresh start. They are great at making friends with everyone. So what I would say is I'm definitely feeling a sense of peak sexual energy coming through. Now, when we think of sexual energy, that doesn't necessarily mean sex. It can also mean that you are just really leaning into a divine period of creativity. So that is a key sense that I'm getting for you, Sagittarius, at the moment on this full moon, is that you are creating something amazing at the moment, creating something magical. So it could even be a baby, that something like that is happening for you at the moment, or is in your very near future. But we also want to be aware of the red flags, to not kind of get too carried away when everything is going seemingly perfectly. We always want to remember that there's always going to be that little bit of darkness in the background, because everything casts a shadow, of course it does. And even on the lunar eclipse, when everything kind of goes into darkness, we have almost that kind of moment of total detachment, that we never want to lose sight of the reality of a situation. But I'm definitely getting a lot of lovely creative energy for you, Sagittarius, for this full moon. So I hope that whatever project it is that you're working on goes well. And these are your cards for the full moon in Taurus. Hello to Capricorn. It is now time to do your 3-card read for the full moon in Taurus. Let us see what cards we have coming up for you. Okay, shuffle a bit more. Okay, these two are coming out together, and then this one here as well. Okay, so we have got the 4 of Cups, we have got the 9 of Cups, and then we've also got the Knight of Wands. Okay, so for you, Capricorn, what I'm seeing is that there is a sense of dissatisfaction at the moment. And with Capricorns, obviously we're in the Taurus full moon, so a fellow earth sign, and Capricorns are often very practical. So for you, Capricorn, sometimes it can be quite difficult to slow down and take that time to do self-care, because for a lot of Capricorns, they find it a bit superfluous. You know, Capricorn is very focused, very driven. They want to kind of do the job, get on with it. But what I'm really seeing is there's maybe a sense of dissatisfaction for you at the moment with certain aspects of your life at the moment, that you are very distracted, that there is something that you really, really want, a goal that you are focusing on, and you're kind of ignoring everything else around you. And maybe other aspects of your life are kind of suffering because of that. And I would say that your career things are still going well, but there's a sense that maybe the emotional side of your life has kind of dropped off a bit. So it could be that maybe you aren't dating at all, that you just don't have access to that part of your life at the moment, or it could be that maybe there is kind of a relationship breakdown or a disconnect because you're too focused on career practices at the moment. And with the 9 of Cups, which I also like to think of as the John Travolta card, because he always looks to me like John Travolta, what we kind of want to kind of steer away from is, although we've got this lovely luxurious Taurus energy for our full moon, we don't want to lean too far into kind of accumulating wealth as a means of our soul comfort. You know, we don't want to ignore emotional connections and relationships in our lives just to collect wealth and abundance. We don't want to kind of get ourselves into a comfort zone where we're almost shutting ourselves away because we're focusing so much on work things that we're then neglecting to have any kind of personal life. We really want to steer away from that. And with the King of Wands coming in hot as well, this is obviously a very fiery card with lots of ferocious, kind of fiery, hot energy. This is really inspiring you, especially kind of with the eclipse coming up and in Scorpio season as well, to kind of take control a bit more of that sexual side of yourself. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to find a relationship, be with a partner, have sex, any of that. It just means like allowing yourself to have access to that again, because with Capricorns can be very practical, and sex can sometimes seem like a bit of a chore or something that they do as sort of a kind of plugging themselves in and charging themselves up almost. So what I would really encourage you to do with the full moon in Taurus, with the lunar eclipse energy coming in as well in Scorpio season, is to really think about in what areas of your life are you disconnecting from other people, and to kind of see your achievements in context of your wider life. You know, don't just let business and finances rule everything. And don't forget that obviously we are all divine masculine, divine feminine, that we all have a sexual side of ourselves, and that need to create and to do something with that energy is important, and to not keep it bottled up, because that can be quite sort of damaging for our internal psyche as well. So these are your cards, Capricorn, for the full moon in Taurus. Hello to Aquarius. It is now time for your full moon reading in Taurus. So let us see what cards we have coming up. All the cards are jumping out, of course. I need to go to Vegas, learn how to shuffle better, I think. Okay, let's see what cards we have coming up for you. All right, so we've got the Ten of Pentacles, the King of Wands in the reverse, and then we've also got the Two of Wands. Okay, so for you Aquarius, I would say that primarily at the moment your focus is on family, and I feel like there are parts of your family that are in harmony and parts where there are a bit of conflict, but that you have managed to kind of steady that water, and that you as a fixed sign are kind of tunneling down and saying, okay, you know, family is not perfect, but it's the most important thing, so I'm going to find a way to be the person that is the bigger person, that steps up and that holds the family together at this particular point. Because I think with the Ten of Pentacles, this is a full circle card. Obviously we're in a full moon at the moment, and although this is a card of completion, very positive in terms of like the financial energy and things, I am getting the sense that especially being in Scorpio season, that there's still maybe a bit of conflict around family things as well. So even though you may feel, you know, happy in your little family unit, little or big, I don't know, you may also still be feeling there's kind of a sense of someone outside the family that is coming in to cause conflict. And I would definitely suggest that the King of Wands in the reverse is kind of heightening that idea that there is someone in your life, and I would say it's connected to family, who is causing problems and maybe being a bit of a troublemaker. And no matter what you do, this person is always kind of throwing a spanner in the works. But then when we have the Two of Wands finishing off our spread, it's letting us know that for you Aquarius, on this full moon with this lunar eclipse happening, that you have so much potential, and you cannot let family drama disrupt you from kind of leaning into that positive energy. Because when we make choices that are right for ourselves, that can often ruffle feathers, because a lot of people, they don't want you to make the decision that's right for you, because it can often mean that then they lose access to you in some way, or you are waking up to a part of yourself that has been hidden because other people have tried to keep it hidden from you. You know, they don't want you to have access to that personal magic, because then you may start to see some of their manipulations and things that are coming in. And Aquarians are quite good at sort of stepping back and being a bit separate, but Aquarians also have that sense of responsibility towards a collective, that kind of push-pull energy. So family situations can often feel very complex if you have Aquarius in your big three, sun, moon or rising. So I would definitely say on this full moon that you have a good family situation, that you have a loving family unit, but there is still some degree of conflict with family going on, particularly with someone with divine masculine energy. So this doesn't necessarily mean that it is a man, but someone who comes across in that kind of male know-it-all, mansplaining kind of sense is what I'm getting from this card here. And that in order to kind of progress and move forward with your own potential, you need to leave that family drama behind. And a full moon and a lunar eclipse is the perfect time to put a full stop on any situation and just say, okay, I've had enough, I see what is happening, but it is not my sole responsibility to deal with, so I'm going to step aside and look to my own potential rather than constantly getting caught up in other people's drama. So these are your cards, Aquarius, for the full moon in Taurus. Hello to Pisces, last but not least on our zodiac wheel. Let us see what the cards have coming up for you. So we'll give them a good old shuffle and let's see what we have coming up. Okay, so we have our top three here. So we've got the Empress, the Five of Pentacles, and then we've also got the Ten of Wands in the reverse. Okay, so with these cards, what I'm seeing is that at the moment you are fulfilling the role in other people's lives and your own of being the divine feminine influence. So this may be that you are at a core situation at the moment where people are coming towards you to lean on you to kind of feel that maternal mothering aspect, and that has nothing to do with gender. It's all about an energy. So Pisceans are often quite soft, quite dreamy, quite artistic, but we're also a little bit introverted as well, so you may find that that brings up a sense of discomfort. But Pisces are also very you know, as water is, it kind of fills the vacuum. So when people need that help and that support, Pisces are often the ones who end up kind of rallying around and supporting that person. So I'm really feeling that that's the shoes that you're stepping into at the moment. But with the Five of Pentacles coming through next to these two cards, what I'm kind of seeing is that although you have been in a very kind of rich, fertile position where people have been coming to you and kind of leaning on you for support because you are giving off that lovely, strong, divine feminine energy, that actually it's kind of depleting you, and at the moment you may not actually feel terribly well, and that can manifest both mentally and physically, that you're kind of feeling that you are the person that's giving and giving and giving, and people are just taking, and it's really depleting you. But because the people that are coming to you are people that you love, that you care about, friends and family, or it could even be people that you respect in a career sense, that you feel that you can't say no, and you're having a bit of a quandary about it. But then when we also have the Ten of Wands coming up in the reverse, it's that sense that we have to understand and acknowledge that everyone's burdens are not just ours to carry. You know, that we can't just take on other people's burdens just because they want to share them with us, that there has to be a point where we say, you know, I need to take care of myself in order to then be open to caring for other people as well. And that can be quite a tricky conversation to have. But with the full moon in Taurus kind of encouraging us to lean into our soft season of, you know, what makes us feel good, of not necessarily kind of pushing ourselves and working so hard and being so available, especially with the lunar eclipse as well. This is the perfect time to kind of take a step back and reassess the situation that you're in and kind of feel like, okay, I want to be available to the people that I love. Maybe you are in a caring capacity, so you're physically caring for a relative or children or someone in that capacity. So it's not something that you can kind of put a full stop on and say, I'm not doing this anymore. But you also want to really think about how are you taking care of yourself at the moment, because you can't just be constantly available for others and not yourself, because that will end up in you being completely depleted, and then you won't be able to help people outside of yourself anyway, because you just won't have the resources. And then when we're having the Ten of Wands coming up, I'm really seeing that if you can kind of find that balance and let other things go, that it will give you that sense of release that you need, and then you can have that space, that time to care for yourself, and then kind of reassess things of how you want to use that divine feminine energy, because we all have access to the divine feminine, the divine masculine, but it's how we use it that can kind of unlock that power. And at the moment I'm really getting the sense, Pisces, on this full moon, that you need to call your power back to you and just kind of use this period of darkness to replenish yourself. So these are your cards, Pisces, for the full moon in Taurus. So there we have it, our readings for the full moon in Taurus. I hope you have a beautiful full moon. Celebrate, connect with yourself, give yourself a pat on the back for completing this particular lunar cycle. Notice how far you've come and really lean into that energy of the lunar eclipse. Don't be afraid of the darkness, of the dark side of yourself. Really just have that moment to put a full stop on things that are no longer working in your life and allow yourself to flourish and really feel that Taurus energy, so that you can assemble your shadow side with Scorpio season, that lovely luxurious energy of Taurus, that permission from the lunar eclipse to say, okay, this time is over, I'm ready for the next step. And I will see you in another tarot video soon. You can also, I almost forgot, you can also now of course book readings with me directly if you would like. I have a few different options. Hopefully one will work for you, which is in my website, so I will leave the link down below as well. But wishing you a beautiful full moon, and I will see you soon. Bye!